Wait a minute. That's not what it's like to work here. That recruiting video's just a hunk of shit.
Morning, guys. Welcome back. It's Biohazard, and I'm here and I'm ready for our Tuesday beginner day. So, yeah, as we start to get people jumped in and joined in, we'll see what we're going to be able to knock out and do. Got a couple of different little things that I've added to the stream here. Obviously, yesterday's first raid was done by Flatline, so I went ahead and added him to the Hall of Fame. And, after a little bit of a discussion, I went ahead and put a little goal tracker down there. Good morning, Robin. That from the channel, as far as donations and things like that are concerned, I'm going to put together the first one, which is going to be as a trading channel. And good morning, Panda Citizen. So just kind of running through some of the background stuff here really quickly. And the Hull C is going to end up being the first ship from donated funds that we will go out and acquire. That will probably be done through the gray market. And then after that, we are going to look at the Kraken and the Raven. Or sorry, the Idris, I believe. So those will probably be the next ships that we're going to look to basically, if you want to call it crowdsource, we're going to crowdsource, get the organization built up to where we have pretty much the ability to do anything as the game rolls forward. So, without any further ado, it is time for me to go ahead and swap this screen over, let you guys get a chance to get a good look. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Idris instead of the Polaris. I'll do a little bit more research, obviously, before I do the final decision there, but I think right now that's kind of the loose plan. So we're going to give a little bit of time, get some people in, and then we're going to start the basics off again, so that everybody can get a little bit more familiar with what we're trying to get accomplished. I want to help some people out and teach them a little bit more in the world of trades. Operational costs will be much lower with the Polaris. I wouldn't doubt it, but it's kind of like the Reclaimer. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and get the big guy and say, you know what, it is what it is. Let's be one of the few groups and few teams that actually has it. Yeah, so D and E classes, they cannot land on planets. That's the reason why I want to target the Hull C. It does not have as much cargo capacity, obviously, as the others, but it is a very, very large capacity, very nice ship, and you can be able to get that down to planet side in order to be able to do stuff, at least pick up cargo-wise. So, good morning, Neela. Glad to see you on. War Medic, good morning. And Anderson, good morning. How are you guys doing? Well, Panda, I will have to go back and double check, because my understanding was it's the smallest ship that can land and get cargo off the planet. So I will definitely go back and double check it. Good morning, Zano. How are you doing today? Hope you have a very busy day and it's able to keep you kind of entertained. So, Robin, when the Hull D and Hull E come along, there's going to be a couple of different things. It's one of those things that um, it's either going to be like at docking stations where you're going to be able to pick up cargo and ferry it to different places, or you're going to have something smaller that basically goes planet side, grabs cargo, comes up, and loads the ship. So it'll be a little bit weird, but again, those are all those things that have to be worked out before they can finally put all that stuff into the game. Let's see. Anderson sells a PO. What did I miss? Investigating some trade routes. Find out Curd ore fills a cat with gold and sells a PO. Really? Not too shabby. We'll have to double check that and see how that works out. Alright. Let me see. Asmodeus rules. Good morning. How are you doing today? So Anderson, let's see. 56K on PO, counting it's only Daymar on PO, doesn't have trams. So that's really not too bad. That's probably, what, a 12-minute round trip? But how many times have you hit that up to see whether or not it's gonna cap out or not, Anderson? You did it twice. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to go back in. Let's go to our commodities. And let's take a look. So obviously, curd ore. Alright. So 80,000 with a 600 refresh. The refresh is extremely low. That's one that you could probably, if it's been completely ignored. Yeah, if it's been completely ignored, you can probably pick something up there and be pretty good to go, at least with one load. Let's see. Now, this wouldn't be a bad setup to be able to bounce back and forth. You're not going to make quite as much. But again, sometimes it's about the speed, and not necessarily about the price. Giving up a few cents in order to be able to get the speed out of it is absolutely fantastic. So that's definitely a good thing. Okay, that wasn't supposed to go on. What just happened there? Looking for a good macro for voice attack to see what pad my ship is on. Okay, so Asmodeus rules. There are a few. Let me hold off for 1 second so I can let this load. There's a couple of locating ship macros that are available. So give me just a couple of seconds and we'll see what we can do. Alright, good morning, Vic. I'm glad you're trying to get back into trading with your freelancer. That's what today's session is pretty much all about. So I'm going to show you some of the basics, give you some routes, and let you get started and see what's going to go on. So, APEP, good morning. How are you doing? Glad to see you on stream. I know this is the first time you've been there. Currently, let's see, Vic. Currently, right now, I can't do any of that. Prisons are bugged, and I can't get out. Mining, have to wait your time. Okay, well, it happens, dude. I had that happen as well, and it didn't matter what I tried between a character reset or a user file replacement. I just ended up getting stuck and having to deal with it. So if you need to, just take a couple of notes and we'll get you squared away and get you up and running. Morning, Shylock. How's it going? Yeah. This whole kicking caffeine thing is still kicking my ass. I mean, I'm a couple weeks into it now and it's still kicking my ass. Lancelot, this is my first time too. I am a virgin. Uh-huh. Alright. And, Nadal, and Neela, sorry. Let me just kind of, I missed your comment there. So you went ahead and got your new SSD, and it changed the whole game. Yep, it's fantastic how much of a difference a really good quality SSD will make in this game. Alright, and good morning, by the way, Lancelot. Thank you for coming back in today. So, let's see. What the freak is going on? Some weird stuff is happening. I've already had the game log me out. I don't have my audio on, so I know it's none of that. Alright, and Panda Citizen, I really enjoyed this comment. Thank you very much. Yes, it is cherry poppin' day. Let's get some newbies out there and get them trading. So once I get back over to the starport here and I get situated, first thing that I'm going to do is take everybody back through Gallog and how to actually use Gallog. This is going to be your best friend in the training world, and I'm going to teach you what it is that I look at, what it is that Chad looks at, and how we try and figure out how to make possible trades work, okay? And then from there, it's kind of this feeling out process to figure out what you really enjoy doing, and if something's not working, to be able to alternate to something different. So Anderson, I can kind of agree to that to a little bit. It's been one of those where there were some of those days where it's like 7 hours in and nothing's going wrong, and you're like, okay, when's the shoe gonna drop, right? Let's see. APEP was acting up last night too. Rubber banding, yeah. I wonder if we're getting ready for some kind of refreshes and some other stuff going on. GTX 1060 minimum. Really surprised how good the game runs as an alpha. It'll as long as you got the right configurations in and you've got stuff set up properly, Neela, it will do a pretty solid job. I'm going to check out Yela for astatine. To Lorville, have you ran this before? Yes, I run Yela all the time. It's one of my absolute favorite runs. So, pop into Rider first, and if Rider is not flowing, just do a quick little micro jump over to Woodruff. Oh, I'm sorry, not Yela. I usually do Ida. Sorry. I have run some astatine before on Yela, but unfortunately, it's not full loads, so it is smaller stuff. All right. So Asmodeus, let's see. So if I'm gonna bring up something really quick, and I will have to upload this profile onto my Discord. I didn't do it yesterday. I'm sorry, when I logged off, I legitimately had to run and go do errands and stuff with my wife. So I'll see if I can bring this up and let you see it. That's my basic profile. Let's go over to the larger one. Okay, so when you're wanting to be able to get to, let's see, where is it? So there's habitation areas where you can locate what habs you're at. You can interactions. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Ship controls. Oh, I actually pulled it off of this profile. I'm gonna have to get you the commands, dude. There is a macro that will let you, set your location, and it will, basically pull it back up and show it to you every single time that you need to find it. Right now, I don't have it on this profile. I have it on the basic profile because I've gone in and modified mine slightly. So we'll get that to you. I'll put it up over on my Discord in the Star Citizen chat, and it'll be a file that you'll be able to download and insert into your, over into your voice attack if you're running it. All right. Let's see. Anything worth more than a deadhead PO to Hurston? Yeah, absolutely. Anything you can run where you're just not running anything, blank. It'll be significantly better than running a deadhead. Even if it's 10, 15K, man, it's 10, 15K more than what you actually had. All right, so let's talk beginner. Beginner 101. Gallog. All right, if you guys have not done it, please go out to Gallog and download, or not really, you don't have to download it, but go ahead and bookmark this site. This thing is going to be your best friend when it comes to doing anything in the world of trades. Now, we're going to do a quick overview of Gallog, and then I'm going to jump directly into how to read trades. So, anything that you want to know ship-wise, you should be able to come in here, find exactly what you want to look for. It'll give you really good quality artwork. And let's just take a look, for example, let's go to the Valkyrie, right? So if I want to go on to the Valkyrie, it's going to give you a little bit of lore, a little bit of information that sits behind this, and then it's going to start telling you what information it has that's been released and updated to this point, up to and including what kind of weapons are sitting there, what size turrets are sitting there, size of drives, other information that you may need. Okay, so the data bank is a plethora of information. If you want to know anything about quantum drives, it'll go in and it'll give you, basics here of what sizes are existing. I know Revere said that he's slowly and steadily working through updating all of this information, so there is more to come here. But here's one of my favorites. All right, you can come in here and you can say, all right, show me Dumper's Depot, and it'll tell you exactly where on what planets Dumper Depot is at, and then you should be able to, as he gets his updates finished, be able to click through and it'll tell you what locations and cities and everything else are there, right? So, Shiri, good morning. Alright, so same thing. Let's go back to Stanton, right? It's just going to give you a basic map here right now. It's not 100% fully interactive, but you can still manipulate, move in if you need to be able to see stuff, right? And it's kind of the same controls that you would have in-game in your Moby. But it'll tell you, what kind of, what the planets are, where things are located. But it's not going to tell you planet side, what all locations are sitting planet side, right? So obviously, here's a little star map, and I have no idea what this particular one is for. I have to ask him about this. This one just really looked a little weird, so I'm not too sure what that's for. And it may have just been a commingled old development. Alright. So there's a couple of things where he's got some old information sitting out here. So these last few, the articles and Trello and everything like that, not too helpful. But as far as the ships, the items, and the shops, I think that's going to be a very helpful setup. Okay, trading. Let's jump on over into trading, because this is what the crux is. Everybody is here to try and learn how to do this. This screen, if you're wanting to plan something and test something, this is where most people spend their time. And I'm just going to tell you that when I first started, I used this a lot, and you guys probably saw it a lot, but I really found a different way to leverage Gallog, and this is not the screen that I really look to try and generate my trades, right? Now I could come over here and, for example, I can come in and say I've got my freelancer, right? And I've got 8 million in credit. Now if I wanted to, I could come over here just as it's blank and calculate, and what it's going to do is it's going to come down and it's going to generate all the information that's possible connections for a freelancer. So again, this is why people use this. Now you could look at this and say, all right, let me sort based upon what's the most money that I could make, right? If I could get 66 agricium at Curd Ore and bring it back to Port Olisar, then I'm going to make 25k in total profit, okay? But it's going to cost me 156,000 to be able to make this work. All right? So that is again why you do have to have some built up funds if you're going to try and maximize things out. But just understand, a freelancer can make 25k in a single trip if you have the funds available. So it's pretty important that you do build up a pretty good bankroll before you start trying to trade. The only way you're going to do that is by doing missions, by doing deliveries, the personal deliveries, and go ahead and knock out a few hours of those things in order to be able to get the funds that you need to really start working. Now, if you're operating as a new person, and let's say you only have, let's drop this down to, sorry, my hotkeys are kicking in. Sorry guys, give me a second. Let's say you only have the 10 grand, right? Okay. So if that's the case, I can still do the same calculation. But then you're going to see that it's going to change based upon what I have available to me to be able to run some stuff, right? Alright. We're bouncing all over the place. 10k. Alright. So here's what I have available to me. If I only have 10k, right? Yeah, so Sherry, I definitely will be coming back to that statement. So if I only have 10k to work with, right? What it's telling me is grab stems from the research outpost on Clio and try and run it to Port Tressler, okay? That's going to give me one of the best outcomes. Now, there's other places that are around, and you can continue to look through what you can get. And that run, it's got a pretty good quantum distance. So, 95,000. That's a really short bounce. Same thing as the Calliope to Port Tressler. That's got a really short jump. But what you want to avoid is something that takes you very long quantum distances in order to be able to get there, right? Now, the rule of thumb here is that if you only have all right, let me rephrase. The rule of thumb for trading: only use half of your bankroll. Never use more than half of your bankroll, okay? So if 10,000 is what you legitimately have, come here and type in 5,000. Okay? Again, it may not change what you're doing, and in some cases it might, but it might not change what you're doing, because it's still going to suggest that you run stems, okay? And it's still going to suggest Clio to Port Tressler. But in this case, if you have a 30K or something else that pops up, you can still continue your trading and continue working. Now, the way that I do this when I first started off in the game is I took this money, I took the 10K that I had, and I only used 5,000 of it, right? And then every time I would make the additional profit here, whatever my profit was, I left myself 5,000 sitting off to the side. So I reinvested my total profit regardless, and then continued to build this up. Okay? So basically, if I were to make, another 1,800 or 1,900 here, then I would then go back and reload with 6,900. And then come back and I would make the money off of that, and then load up with approximately, 83, something like that, 84. So I continuously reinvested my profit until I got to a point of which I could fully load the freelancer. Okay? So it's that's where your risk is early on. The only thing you are saving is the 5,000 off to the side. Okay? Bunch of runs, bunch of things. It'll get you there. It'll get you pretty clean and set up, and you'll be up and running and trading with the freelancer very, very, very quickly, right? Now, if I get to that point where I'm sitting on something like, let's say, 300K, okay? Then as you can see, it's going to tell you go for a Grecium, okay? And there's also the possibility of running Laranite. So you can make about 24,000 running Laranite. Although I wouldn't say necessarily run this to Grim Hex. Obviously this is just calculating based on what the best known information that you can possibly get. Yep. So Panda, yes, you can always get a loan from a friend. You can always advertise that you want to be a pilot for somebody for a little while and get a little extra money. But if you take a look at a Grecium and Laranite, you're looking at the 150 to 180,000 range worth of investment. Okay, still a very heavy investment for a freelancer. So guys, keep that in mind. That is what you're looking for. Is you want to be able to maximize your total profits, minimize your total quantum distances. All right. That's the basics of how to read Gallog in this scenario. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to pro tip here. Even though this is a newbie session, I don't use this setup in this capacity anymore. Okay? When I'm under trades, I technically, and almost always, I come in under the commodity side. And I'll find a commodity that I want to run. My minimum is $1. Okay, so I have to have at least a 1 profit here before I would consider running it. Okay, so like a Grecium has a 379 maximum. Aluminum only 23, so I won't run aluminum. All right, I would run gold. I would run titanium. And I don't run tungsten. So it's kind of one of those scenarios, right? So you find something that you want to run, and this is how you start to build your routes. So I'm going to use gold as the example. Okay? Click on gold. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring up this type of screen for you. Okay? Now, you have 2 parts that you have to figure out. And again, this is kind of your pro tip on how to use Gallog to really figure out what routes are going to be best for you, which ones are going to produce the most for you. In your ship, you have to consider, as a new person flying, the freelancer, I can only carry 66 SCU. So basically, 6,600. Okay? Now, your trade terminals refresh every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes you get into something, or you get into a terminal, it resets and it multiplies this average refresh rate basically by 5. So if I only have 6,600 that I can carry, any of these locations, these top 3 or top 4 right here, will have more than adequate refresh for me to be able to fill up my ship, the freelancer, just like that, and never have to wait more than 5 minutes planetside tops. Okay? In most cases, your approach, if there's nobody there, this will have refreshed for you and you're good to go. Okay? So that is the suggestion here, is make sure you double check your refresh rates, and the refresh rate needs to be as high as possible for the ship that you're running. Now, the second thing that I consider is what my max inventory is, because as I get to larger and larger ships, I want to make sure that that max inventory is as high as possible so that I can fly multiple Caterpillars or multiple large ships in and be able to top them off as quickly as possible and get them back off planet. Okay? Third thing that I consider is my price. Most of these prices are within a few cents of each other, and to me, the time is worth it. So if I can get in and I have to pay a few more cents in order to be able to get something, that's fine. But the ideal place for gold right now is Lyria. So the Humboldt mines. If I were to come over here, I'd have a refresh rate that more than exceeds anything I could put onto a freelancer. It's got 60,000 units already, and I would be only loading 6,600. And then it's got one of the lowest purchase prices. So right now, this is how I would read this, which is get my butt over into ArcCorp and start running Lyria. Okay? So that's kind of where, and in and out of Humboldt mines. Okay? Now, we flip the script. Where do we want to sell it? Right? So if I were to take and say, let's do the same thing over here, where do I want to sell it? Anywhere that has a very good quality, high refresh rate. Okay? Or sorry, a max inventory. So first off, I'm going to start with my max inventory and say, all right, 500,000, that's fantastic. So anything above this mark, I could go to Grim Hex, I can go to Levski, Port Olisar, Lorville, or Area 18. Now, if I'm sitting here and I'm running a freelancer and I want to go as fast as I possibly can, Lyria is next to Area 18. Well, guess what? Area 18 has a fantastic refresh rate, a fantastic inventory, and it has one of the highest resale values. So that is how I use Gallog. Okay? Pick a commodity, find it, find your trade route, see what's going on. Now, if somebody is sitting here and camping Lyria and just working that one over and over and over to death, well, guess what? I now have 2 different locations that are sitting on Aberdeen. One slightly better than the other, which would be Norgard, and then I can still go into Lorville Central Business District and still make the same profit. So those are kind of those little choices and things that you're going to see when you're going through Gallog and how to figure out what trades you can possibly make. Alright? So, the ones that throw you for a loop are these. Wherever the refresh rate and the max inventory is not available, these are ones that you have to go out and you have to almost make your own personal notes on in order to be able to see. You won't get max inventory in most cases, but you will be able to find out what the refresh rates are if you go out there with a solid enough ship to pull it off. Okay? So most people in the game, if they're using a tool like this, they're going to instantly ignore using or going to this location to pick up gold, right? So I think that's what we'll do this morning, is we're going to explore running over to Daymar and hitting up Area 141. Now look at the price. The price is asinine, right? Just to buy it. I can't even sell it that high. So we'll fly in there to double check and see what's going on and see if this is just a misprint. Okay? But that's usually what I do when I'm doing beginner day, is I'll try and figure some stuff out like this. Okay? Now, with a freelancer, if you guys are just starting out and you really want to get into something that's solid and it's steady and it's stable, okay? Doesn't take a ton of money in order to be able to do this. Let me go ahead and go back up to the actual trading, okay? So if I have a freelancer and I'm sitting on 10,000, right? What I like to do is, I think it's at, hold on, Bountiful Harvest, so Daymar, okay? And then I want to go to her L4. Okay, so this route is going to become a bread and butter for anybody who is really trying to get anything started in the game. It's steady, there's very low risk, and you make a couple thousand on your trips, okay? So it will be a fantastic little run for you. Okay? So check out the profit margin that comes back in here. If you fly to Bountiful Harvest and you pick up distilled spirits, now granted, you're going to have to have 10,000 in total to be able to make this run. So 1 or 2 box missions and you're sitting at 20K in the bank, half of it goes into your trade. You've got the money to make this run. This run will work for you over and over and over and over and over again, and it's absolutely fantastic. Okay? At least for brand new guys. There's a 20% margin overall on this thing, but for 10K investment, you're going to earn almost 2,500 every single time you run this. HURL4 will accept up to 120 SCU of distilled spirits, and since the freelancer can only carry 66, this run will make you a crap ton of money. Now, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to make the trip, but here's the good news. From here, for me to get back into Daymar, I still have to fly into Crusader, so I'm flying right past Port Olisar, right? So now if I go to, and I reverse this, so keep in mind, that's 2,400 in one shot, right? If I go to Hurl L4, while I'm there, and I just made my sail, then I want to go to Port Olisar. Okay? Scrap. Scrap is, and this is not right. Scrap is only going to be about $1.35 there. So this needs to be updated. But even if it was $1.50, okay, and I'm selling at $1.86, I fill up scrap again under 10K, and I run it back, and I'm making another 2,400. So in one round trip of 15 minutes on the freelancer, with this particular run, absolute basic run, you are going to end up making approximately 4,900 in profit. So, and you keep reinvesting that, and all of a sudden you're going to get back up to a point where you're starting to be able to run things like diamond, things like titanium, things like laranite, things like agricium. All of that stuff will open up to you very, very quickly. So a matter of a few hours worth of flight time, and you'll have gotten some reinvestment to be able to take care of stuff. So that is the bread and butter run for somebody who is just starting out in the game. Daymar Bountiful Harvest, picking up distilled spirits, running it out to HURL4. At HURL4, picking up scrap, running it back to Port Olisar. That well of trades will last you indefinitely. You'll be able to make a crap ton of funds doing that. And it doesn't matter the size of ship that you use. Okay? If you have something like a Cutlass Black or something like that, you can do the same thing. If you have an Andromeda, you can do the same thing. If you have a Starfarer, run the same thing. If you have a Caterpillar, run it. The only thing I will tell you is because HURL4 caps at 120 distilled spirits, never load more than 120. Okay. If you're using a very large ship and you have the capacity to go above 120 SCU, then only load 120 SCU of distilled spirits, and then turn around and pick up processed food. It's at the same location at Bountiful Harvest, and they will, an HURL4 will buy almost an unlimited supply of processed food. So that that particular run will again net you tons and tons and tons of profit. That's how I started this game, and that's how I ended up getting into trading. And it doesn't matter how many other people are trying to do that, because even if you go to HURL4, or not, sorry, even if you go to Bountiful Harvest and there's no distilled spirits, you don't have to wait. Just load up on processed food and then head to HURL4. So it's a really good thing. It's a really good, easy run. Let's see. So, I wish Revere would come on stream. Yeah, he'll probably be here at some point in time. And then Hurl L3, and then again. So, yeah, Shiri, there are various combinations that people can do, and you can get more creative with some of that stuff. If pad rammers are a thing, then yes, you can go to Levski, and you can, do those types of circles and get between HURL3 and 4 and 5, and it works, right? But for a basic and a newbie that's in the game, I want to make sure that they have something to latch onto. Something that they can start and steadily make funds with. And I know 2,500 a pop doesn't sound like it's great, but by the time you project that out and you say, okay, I'm making 2,500 on each leg, so I'm making about 5,000 every 15 minutes, and with a freelancer, all of a sudden now I can turn around and say, all right, let me hang my hat on the fact that I'm making 20K an hour, right? And that's with a basic trade. And then after you make 20K an hour for a few hours, you've got more than enough money and more than enough funds to pick up and then start running things like diamond, things like titanium, laranite, agricium, those types of commodities, which will then start netting you 25K per run. Okay? And no, Sherry, by all means, add away, because that's what this is. I want people to be able to share their routes, share their experiences, and everybody should be good to go. And Anderson tells us trading routes all the time. Okay, but again, real quick recap here before I jump back over into the game. I personally prefer to go to commodities, and I like to find them. Right now, all of this stuff is fantastic. Obviously, you can go under vices and you can try and sell drugs and do whatever you want to do, and the profit can be, insane, like it is here on Slam. But how long do I want to sit there to sell it? I don't. So the reality is I usually avoid drugs. Once I get to a point where, and please hear me out on this, once I get to a point where I am no longer using a ship, like the freelancer for the most cases, then I would take the slam, I would fill up the slam on the freelancer, fly it over to like HURL4, someplace that I would fly in and out of regularly, park it. And then every time I would run my trade route with one of my other ships, as I would fly in, I would take the opportunity to sell a few SCU off of that slam and just keep going. Okay? Not everything is considered illegal. Distilled spirits is not illegal. Stems is not illegal. I am not sure about some of the others like Revenant Tree, but I do know that the rest of those do register as illegal. So like I said, distilled and stems don't load up in your cargo as illegal. Alright, so I've done a crap ton of talking and it logged me out. So, let's get back in there. Now, if you have multiple ships, let's say, like for those of you, Lancelot, you're probably a good example, right? You got the Cuddy Black, and you got the freelancer. So what I would say is, like, you take your, and this is not what I would recommend, but I'm just using this as an example. You would take your cuddy and you would run and go grab Slam with your cuddy, take it out to HURL4, and park that there. Run your freelancer for a few hours while you're doing trades, and then every time you pop in with that distilled spirits coming back into HURL4, sell off the stem, or sell off the Slam that's sitting on your cuddy, and you just end up making a little extra every single run and every single deal. All right. Yesterday doing cargo hauling, got 30K, lost almost 200. So I don't know how to say your first name, so I'm just gonna say it, Gutierrez. His last name. Yeah, dude, it happens more often than you would think. That is the reason, and that's the rule of thumb as to why you never invest more than half of your funds into a single cargo run. Because if you do, you're just asking for a 30K, and then you're asking to have to sit there forever to try and regrind that money back up. All right. Alright, so Furious, you can check what's illegal on Mobiglass. Really? Hold on. In MG private message tab, check out the jurisdictions for different sectors. Alright. Stuck on an elevator. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Come on. Ground floor. The EU servers are not doing very, very good today. That's kind of a deal. Yeah, I am with... Come on. I'm with, what in the hell? I may be bouncing servers at some point in time, because I've already had a couple of different really wonky things that have happened here. But yeah, thank you, Anderson. Let's see, 30 mil and 30Ks in the last 2 days, or 3 mil. Yeah, you know? Buddy, welcome to the club. I'm sorry, my friend. I know how that feels, and you just keep chasing the ghost, don't you? There's times when it's just really easy to get there, and it's, you start making a crap ton of money, and then there's other times where it's like, you just lose a ton of it, right? Now, what, Arenavision, what servers are you playing on right now? Alright, so in Mobiglass, private message tab, check out jurisdictions for different sectors. So, let's go here. You said, what, private message? Am I missing something here?
Now arriving. Keystep Spaceport. Please watch your step when disembarking the train.
Alright, we'll have to go back in and dig there. So, give me a second. I want to be able to get off the train. Alright, so Luke, buying for 405K per time, full load in the cat. Quick question, sorry. Is the commodity availability dynamic, so the amount you purchase from one place changed randomly? As I was running agresium from ArcCorp mining area at Daymar. The way that that works is there is a. Let me see if I can word this correctly for you. The amount does change, okay, because it's average refresh rates. Now, the commodity prices, whatever set of servers that you're in, and this is basically the gist of what I've been able to test myself. Okay, so I'm not going to say it is law. Don't think about it like that. Let's go ahead and get our freelancer out. If you're in the EU servers or the Australian servers or the US servers, you know, whatnot, those particular servers, they have like a shared commodity price. So the more things are being traded and the more things are being done, I've seen the same price affected throughout that course of servers, but I have seen it tick a few cents up or down on alternate servers. Okay. So if I were to jump from EU to US, I have seen some prices change a little bit. As far as quantities and availabilities, those are all based on just average refresh rates. All right. Now, so you can jump from one server to another and be able to liquidate and sell something that maybe you've capped out on another server. So it's not truly 100% dynamic, but there are some very finite rules that, from what I've seen, with that. Alright, and guys, I'm trying to keep up with chat at the same time I'm doing this, so bear with me here. I'll probably look back over at chat as soon as I get back up into the air here. Okay, so look, the max you can buy is only 9K at the same place, which is a big difference to 405K. Well, it's kind of one of those scenarios where, let's see here. Hold on, looking in the chat.
Thank you.
It's kind of one of those scenarios where if somebody had not used that location for a very long time, the refresh rate had an opportunity to fill it up. But if you were hitting it up and somebody else did anything with it, then it's a possibility that, you know, it's just being thrashed out and not refreshing fast enough. Because some of those places only refresh at, like, you know, a quantity of 50, and you need 100 to make a single SCU. So it is what it is. So yeah, Anderson is correct. It does. Like I said, the refresh rates that you see are average refresh rates. The max quantities are the max quantities as long as that's what's posted. It's just the longer a location has time to cycle the per minute and every 5-minute hits, it's gonna refresh a significant amount of quantity. But if the location is getting bumped constantly or you're going out and using it, it's something that you probably need to work into your trade cycle and say, every couple hours I'm going to go out and check it, and that's it. And if somebody is running that commodity but they're running it from another location, it will still affect you. It'll affect the prices, but it won't necessarily affect the availability at that particular spot. Alright, let's see here. So we wanted to go over to Daymar. I wanted to check that trade out. So we're going to go ahead and pop into Daymar, and it was 141, I thought. No. Gallog. Let's go back to Gallog. So we were looking at gold, right? ArcCorp Mining, Daymar. I didn't see an ArcCorp Mining. Did you guys? I see a Shubin. Oh, there it is. It was hidden behind the planet. So, yeah, that's what we're going to try and get to. We're going to go ahead and try and get out here to Daymar and check this out. So, since Moby is going to act up on me again, let's find out what we can do to make a quick little micro jump. That's why we're on the wrong side of the planet, so we are going to have to go to aerial first. I'm okay with that. It's not going bad. Weird one of the bunch. And give me a second. I will definitely check the jurisdictions here. Furious, just give me 2 seconds, because once we get onto the longer run, I can focus a little bit more on chat. Alright, now, let's see if this will let us make our cross-system jump. Yep, sure will. Alright, so let's get this rolling, and then I will go ahead and I believe what you're saying, dude. I just want to be able to, you know, walk through it so people can see it on stream and be able to check out what's going on. Alright. So you said the fourth one over, so you're thinking it's the journal, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, so it's going to be the journal tab. And where do you go from there? What are you looking for? Is it the People's Alliance stuff? This right here? Alright. Felonies. Misdemeanors. Stolen property, controlled substances, A, B, C. Right, but what are the controlled substances? Huh, okay. Insurance fraud, sabotage, homicide, aggravated, battery, trafficking. Okay. Significant quantities in excess of 0.125, Class A controlled substance, traffic cell. Alright, so again, it's not telling me what A, B, and C are. I see the... Yeah. So I definitely see that there are places where, you know, obviously, again, yes, you're trafficking of controlled substances. That's fine. A, B, and C, right? Commodity, agree to resolve conflicts no matter, even if you respect. Additionally, engaging in the following. Yeah, again, I'm not seeing it there, buddy. I'm scrolling through, and it just says Class A, B, and C. Oh, it's all good. I mean, that's more information than I had seen before in the past, so, you know, thank you for showing it to me. Let's see. So, Microtech. Arrest, fraud, aggravated, miscellaneous, Class A, B. So they don't care about Class C, right? Prohibited goods. Gasping weevil eggs. Controlled substances. Alright, so this one does show it. So this is where this one is showing it. Like people's jurisdiction doesn't care. Microtech does. Let's see if Hurston, yep. So that's good to know. So it is kind of dependent on where you're at. So fair enough. Thank you for teaching me something here today. Yeah, Anderson, I've not had that happen where... Okay. I've had it register before that whatever the previous person who had bought it, it had locked the terminal saying that it had 100 in there, but when I tried to process it, in a similar situation, I tried to process it, it would tell me that it didn't have sufficient stock, and then after a couple minutes, you know, it cleared off and said there was only, you know, 30 or 40 or something like that. But that's the only time I've ever had that happen, Anderson. Yeah, jelly? Me either. Usually it's just kind of one of those things that sits there and it's like, alright, yeah. I look at it and I'm saying, hey, it's fluff. No worries, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, you get somebody like Furious in here, it's like, okay, well, hey, we all learned something, right? Let's see, so next jump. So like I said, guys, I am really curious so that we can take a look at what the gold situation is there on, you know, our Corp 141 here. And by the way, Furious, I don't give a rat's ass about the language, so don't get offended by my bot. Alright, so our Corp. That's the one that I want. Right there. Set route. We're going to go see if we can figure out why Gallog is missing information. Jelly showing his appreciation. Bravo, sir. Bravo. Okay, and the chat has begun. You guys, feel free to try and do whatever you want to do because, let's see, Panda Citizen is already ahead of the power curve by trying to figure out how to get around the bot today. So, please feel free to drop any and every alternative curse word that you possibly can and figure out how to get around my bot. Really? Who do we have here? We have an empty seat held by Scotty Lad. And it looks like he is running Agresium and medical supplies. Anderson, so the other day, if you recall, last week I did one just to try and prove it wrong, and for whatever reason it worked. It allowed me to freaking sell an entire ship's worth of medical supplies, and I was like, nah. So I'm not running medical supplies. I'm here to check out what's happening with the gold. So I'm not too worried about him and what he's going to do. Besides, he'll probably be bolting out of here as quick as he possibly can because there's a ship coming in. Yep, straight on up. But this is kind of one of the things that I like doing on you know, intro day is, you know, going through, giving out some basic trade route information, getting some people started. But truthfully, I really enjoy trying to find some of these little hidden gems as we test them, right? Oh, newbie advice number 2. Okay, if you want to call it pro tip, call it whatever. But anytime you're planet side, I know the temptation is just to leave the door open and run as fast as possible. Don't do it. Close it. Because there's always going to be that one lurking asshole that you completely forgot and missed. And the bastard will come up and steal your ship. And if he doesn't, I will. I'll bring it back, but, you know, I mean, just got to have a little fun with it first, right? Alright, so, hey, we got a Bob here. So, hey, Bob, what's going on? You know my personal feelings about... it wouldn't let me talk to Bob. Please tell me I'm not going to have terminal problems. Nope, there it is. Alright. So, we have a problem here. Okay? That said problem is that what Gallog has down here for gold is 100% incorrect. No gold. So, yeah. Interesting. I've not seen that happen before where Gallog had something listed. It was usually there. It was missing information, but it was still usually there. So, in interest of time, because I don't want to waste it, let's just find out what we can get, right? So, of all of these, right, this is the next thing that I'm going to do. This is where if you're somewhere and you're like, okay, I don't want to do a deadhead, right? I'm not out trying to make any money right now. I was just trying to prove a concept here with, you know, you can go and find some of these hidden gems, and unfortunately this hidden gem is so hidden that it doesn't even exist. So make a note of that and then get that information over to Revere. So let's go back to trading, right? And freelancer, I have a bunch of money, and we're going to go ahead and say that we are at area 141. Oh. Really? You're not going to find it? Daymar ArcCorp 141, and let's just say we're going to go back to Port Olisar for right now. Bad day in the verse, dudes. Bad day in the verse. Continue. Come on, you can do it. Oh no, we didn't go down, did we? Ah, come on. goodness. Did Gallog crash? Totally not happy with that. Come on. There it goes. Okay. So, Daymar to $4 SAR. Calculate. There it is. All right. So maybe it was my browser page that actually crashed on that one. Yeah, that I'm gonna take blame on that one. That was probably my browser. All right. So again, here's what it is telling me would be the best route to be able to do. Obviously, is Agricium, right? So I'll pick up any and all possible Agricium that I can get, and then the next best is going to be my tungsten. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So if you're ever somewhere and you don't want a deadhead, that's where you use that front screen for. Okay. It just refreshed in price, so you just saw it, updated and lost it. So I can't even get the 3. I can only get 1 at this point. So Anderson, I think that is the scenario that you ran into. Alright, so tungsten. Tungsten is going to be my next best. And then that's that. So ultimately, again, guys, just try and find those little bitty bread and butter, small basic runs. Yeah, but you were telling me that when you were that you had gone somewhere, it showed 100, waited a minute or two, and then all of a sudden it kicked down to 22. So I was just letting you know the only time that I had ever seen that before is when somebody had just previously purchased. So that's kind of the exact same thing that I was seeing right there, is it looked like somebody had previously purchased. And good news is we've got a good, clean, straight shot just to $4 SAR. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, since we're here in the Crusader area, I'm going to take you on my favorite, that little intro run. That bugged off stole all the gold. That dude that bugged. Yeah, well, you know, fact of the matter is I don't even know why Gallog is showing that there. It's really odd that a commodity would be showing on the tool, because he downloads that information from RSI. So it'd be really weird that that happens, and then all of a sudden he just that it just doesn't exist on that terminal. Alright, Anderson, I believe you. So guys, if you guys are wanting to run ores and things like that and try some stuff, go over to Kurt Ore. Let me get this on the ground and emptied. Anderson, that is 100% correct. So guys, when you're trying to form up your own routes, one of the best things that you can do is find what looks to be unattractive, okay? Because again, what you're trying to do is get some trade routes that you can always fall back to, that people are not necessarily hitting up on a regular basis. And again, that's where I kind of make that statement of the min-maxing. A few cents either direction is not going to make or break you, okay? You know, give up a few cents in order to be able to go somewhere that hasn't been hit up so hard, because at that point you're going to be able to get into a trade where you have the commodities and you're running the commodities. Especially this month where everybody's got their carrocks running around from their account ships. They're really hitting up a lot of the major stuff. Alright. So obviously I'm going to make about I'm going to make a little bit of cash here. It's not going to be much of anything. Because I was not able to get a full load of that. But here on the tungsten, if you'll notice, I am making some okay profit that was sitting there. So it's just a couple thousand, but it's still just a couple thousand that would easily be able to be reinvested back in. Yeah, I think in that total trade I made about 2,200. But that's still 2,200 that can be reinvested back into a bigger run. Does the ballista have enough firepower to down a cat? I don't know, Xano. Well, it might be something that we have to check. We might have to test that. Alright. So, good morning, Mike. How are you doing today, buddy? Glad to see you back on stream. Alright, next thing's next. I am going to demonstrate the run that I have recommended for everybody to start off with. Again, as you can see, it's Basics and a Newbie Tuesday, so Freelancer is out. Hopefully this time I haven't parked it so close that I run off the end trying to get in and out of the ship, but so I'm getting that bug where it's my free look is going nuts. So somebody is above me. Son of a bitch. Of course there's somebody above me. Come on. Because why wouldn't you hang out above all the pads, right? That's always a great thing. Alright, so we're going to head back over, but this time we're going to Bountiful Harvest. Come on, you don't have to kiss my ship, dude. That's not... I wasn't trying to mess you up there. Alright. Anderson. It takes 8 hours to claim a reclaimer. 48 minutes if expedited. Yeah, that's about accurate. It sucks. It royally sucks. Alright, so for everybody who is curious again, I had explained that the Bountiful Harvest Hydroponics over here on Daymar. This is one of those little bread and butter runs that you can do with pretty much any ship, and if you're wanting to start trading. I am going to demonstrate this one for you for, you know, just to kind of prove it out for you here. Now, you can run most of this stuff to any location that you want to run it to. Okay, any of the HURs. I like HURL4 because then I'm not having to worry about the sun in the approach. No, Jelly, I don't need to add him to the kill list. That was actually my issue. I didn't pay attention and go to third-person view when I was lifting off, so it's all good. However, if you would like to fly out there and just start targeting Carracks, by all means, that's on you, buddy. I will try and belly flop this bad boy, though. Alright, Jelly, we have to start talking about your overprotectiveness there, bud. I'm really grateful for it, but not everybody's doing me wrong. Now, if it's the dude that's on Chad's hit list, then so be it. It's all good. Overprotection or bloodthirst. Yeah. Alright, so again, guys, I make this run on a regular basis whenever I'm just kind of looking for something that's really chilled, easy to do. Hell, I bring my Caterpillar in here on a regular basis. But this is the run that I did with Chad for probably 3 days straight. Okay, I mean, now every time that we were on, we would run this run is basically what I was getting at, because we had farmed from 56,000 in total cash assets to over 800K just doing this run with the Caterpillar. So as you can see, distilled spirits, they're purchasing right now for 407, right? And because this is a freelancer, I'm going to go ahead and max them. So 26.8, right? As soon as it processes. This is taking its ever-loving sweet time. What's going on? Fine. I want distilled spirits. You can give them to me, please. Apparently, even during the demo today, this is just not going to be a very helpful terminal. So, here's the flip side of this. If for whatever reason this scenario fails, now look, interestingly enough, it's deducting the funds. So I wonder if we're bugging out or if something else is going on. Let me back off from the terminal, give it a second here. Still not showing. It put the funds right back in. So if distilled spirits are having issues or you have lower funds, then the next one to go ahead and grab is just go ahead and purchase processed food. Yeah, it might be ready for a server hop. Okay, see, that one went through. So a full load is just under 8K, okay? But that's the good news about this location is either of these commodities, you're going to the same place. Now, I prefer the distilled spirits because obviously you're going to make a little bit more money on them. Come on. You should have been able to close. Yeah, there's a lot of server lag that's going on. There's something that's up. We're going to complete this trade just because I'm going to be bullheaded about it and just make it work. But normally this would be some of those telltale signs that I would say it's time to go ahead and pick up and jump servers because the server's actually getting overloaded. See, just like this, that whole free look issue every time I'm getting into the cockpit. Alright, so from here, obviously off of Bountiful Harvest, the very next thing that I'm going to do is plot for HUR-L4. And I know there's HUR-L3 and, you know, Cruel L5, a couple of these other places, but because when you do this approach, you have the sun directly in your eyes, and it's a real thick asteroid field, I hate HURL3. That extra minute or two just does not bug me whatsoever. Well, so Xano, the problem was it wasn't that I was desynced. There was something going on with that commodity. Because the moment that I went through and did processed food, it picked it up and let it run. So it really was an issue with that commodity and how the commodity is on the server. So I guess the point of what I'm trying to get to here, as new players or new traders that are in the verse, you know, I really want you to understand that even if you only have a freelancer, you don't have to make hundreds of thousands of aUEC per trip. Granted, that's nice when you're able to get up to that point, but you can make funds and you can work funds up by using nothing but the tools that they've given you. So early on, I will tell you right now, you're going to make significantly more funds in an hour by doing box delivery missions. If you just want to do trades in order to be able to learn to do trades, you can do them with something like a freelancer. You know, you can save up enough, you can to buy a freelancer max, and then you're going to start making significantly more money. Or you can go to work for other pilots, and with that, those are kind of those major things that you're going to be able to knock out very early on to get into gameplay and start buying larger and larger and larger ships. Now, also with that, you know, there's channels like mine where every single Friday we get together and, you know, the farming and stuff that I've done throughout the week, you guys get a ship giveaway, and new people will know, or older people will know, that it's a Cuddy Black this month. Next month is a Freelancer Max. So, you know, be able to get some potential trade ships up and running. And, you know, there are those times where we hit some certain system glitches, or not glitches, but we hit some features in the game, and they happen to work in our favor. And we find commodities that we call flowing commodities, and I will bring a bunch of people in to fly all of my caterpillars for me, and I'll take on the risk, but we'll split the profits. So it's a fantastic little way to set some stuff up and get some stuff done. Best starting to use personal delivery missions from Hurston, Smuggler's Triangle. So Furious, that's a good call there. Those types of things, as long as they don't bug out, you'll make some really good cash. But that's all you can do, is you can try them. So a lot of those missions are really set up so that people can get the starting funds that they need to either upgrade equipment or weapons or whatnot. So yeah, that's the advice. So like I said, there's a couple people here that, you know, we enjoy doing the trading side of everything, but you know, the reality is there's far more to this game than just trades. This just happens to be one of the niches that I really, really, really enjoy. So we'll have to see, because I think when we get to Saturday this week, we'll probably explore some of those missions. And I definitely want a few of you guys around, because I would like for us to get into some more troubles again, please. So, Jelly, Xano, I'm looking your way. I know Jelly's always down for causing trouble. So, Panda, most of the time, my morning times are when I have the availability to stream. I can tell you that there are some days where my wife is at work, and obviously with her 24-hour shifts, those are days that I have availability to stream really, really lately, or really, really late, and those are days that I will put up like a marathon of some sort. So I will check. Tomorrow may be one of those days where I can stream much later. So Panda, if that's the case, then what time do you usually get off of work? You're on the 8 to 5 Central workday. Okay, no problem. So even if it's not necessarily on stream, dude, I'd be happy to fly with you. So after 5 o'clock, if my wife's working and I've got time to be able to jump back on, I will jump back in, and then we can go around the verse getting into some issues. That pretty much goes for everybody. I mean, guys, if I'm on and you guys want to do something, hit me up. The only thing I do is I reserve my stream time in the morning so that I can do my trading. And but beyond that, I'm pretty much open for whatever shenanigans and BS. I mean,
please proceed to side landing bay.
and that was an impromptu deal, wasn't it, Jelly? Where it was like, it was either me or Chad, and I just happened to be there and available. I was like, alright, fine, I'll come grab you in the Caterpillar. And then shit went sideways. And that was after getting motion sickness the night before. Oh man, it was rough. Hold on one second. Xano, by the way, Mike, when's the next record-breaking trade day? I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I want to. How can we, because we were only running 3 Caterpillars, right? And now that I've got the 4th Caterpillar, I'm kind of curious. I know that we could probably cut that down to about a 5-hour run, Xano. So it's highly possible that... let me check the schedule. And we'll find out. Because those record-breaking days, I would love to be able to do those on Thursdays before I give the Friday giveaway. So let me just check on that one, okay? Would I trade Laranite on those marathons? Yeah, if Laranite's flowing and I can sell it, absolutely I would. I mean, that would be, what, a 6 million investment across all my ships at one time? That's a huge freaking risk. Alright, so let's go ahead and sell here. Now, if you remember, I picked it up for just shy of 8. Wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we're desynced from the terminal. Oh, we're about to 30K. We are on a full desync from the terminal. Alright. So, that said, exit to menu. Yes. See if I can preemptively do this so I can get back in. And for argument's sake, I'm going to go ahead and click on the best for right now instead of jumping back over to the EU servers. But yeah, Anderson, I definitely would run Laranite if it's fully flowing and it's available. We were doing a combination of yeah, no, the one that you were doing with me, Xano, that was all titanium. Titanium was just on, you know, 710 a share, and we were running it like it was nobody's business. There were a few rounds early on where I did some Laranite, but realistically it was almost all titanium. No. That's why I said, man, that was a shocking day that it only took 7 hours. I mean, now, when you're talking, and think about it like this, when you're talking a Caterpillar, and we had 3 cats running, and titanium was the price that it was at, we were making about 300K per trip. Okay? And it wasn't 300K per ship. It was just 300K in total for all the cats at one time in sales. Oh, Xano, if it had been that many trips, if it had been Laranite, we probably would have made somewhere in the neighborhood of around 6 to 7 million. Well, so Xano, if something like that ever happens again, and we're able to pull that off, what I'll do is that'll probably be a day where I decide that I'm going to go ahead and give pilots caterpillars. Just go and buy them caterpillars at that point. All right, so something is appearing to be going on right now, because processed food sells here, and even over on the buying section, something's up. So right now we have an issue of something going on in the verse that I am encountering on my profile. So there's not going to be much more that I can do at this point. I mean, we can try and see what'll happen, but I'll go pull a ship out and see if it'll work. See, somebody else just said first 30K in 3 days. So there's something rolling right now. Some crap's going down. I'm going to go ahead and lift off and then go out of the armistice zone. I'll try your gun trick, come back in, and see if it's going to work. Let's see. Okay, good run for the cat. If you are on the Discord, there is a pinned chart that will tell you some, profits, some losses, or some profits and some potential really good runs of where to go pick some stuff up and where to drop it off at. But again, it really depends on how much funds you have and what all you're looking at wanting to do. How much risk you're willing to take. So, well, so Mike, if you need a default fallback and you have the money in order to be able to do it, titanium is always going to be good. Okay? So Ariel at Besdick or Lathan, pick up titanium, take it back to Lorville and sell it. It'll make you some pretty good money. So you're actually got more money than I do right now, so you're doing pretty solid. Alright, so let me step out of the seat. See about... Alright, there we go. Alright, so Inno, thank you for the cheers, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's land back in here and see what's going to go on. See if we can get resynced at this point. Again, thank you for more cheers. Much, much appreciated. See all the bits falling down in the cup. Yeah, right. Right. Just because I'm here, watch. Now it'll be a 30K just because I pulled the ship off the pad, right?
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
We'll let Autoland do it this time. Let's see if we can let the computer synchronize to the computer. And then while that's landing, we'll just get up out of the seat and do our thing.
Landing complete. Pleasant stay.
Hearing a whole lot of things go on. So, Inno, dude, thank you. You just keep throwing bits at the cup. I appreciate it, buddy. Some of those new little stream toys that are put in. Just stuff that I'm kind of figuring out as we go along. You know. So at some point in time, I'm going to turn on all the gambling stuff. And, you know, because those of you that follow the channel and know when me and Chad are talking, you know, I love to play craps, I love to gamble, I love to do some other stuff like that and just have fun with it, right? But I'll probably turn some of that on for chat in order to be able to have some fun and goof around. And one of them will be one of the wheels of prizes to see what ends up happening. Yes, the golden cat is there on the tier. It did get approved. Now, so that you're aware, some more emoticons and things like that will be coming here shortly. As soon as I have a few more, I'm like right there at the end of it. There's a few more subs that'll take place. And as soon as that's done, it'll unlock the capability of having some more of those emoticons done. And or the emotes, and I will be uploading some of the custom emotes that you have done for me, Zano. See, there it is. That's sunk back in. Alright. So, again, right here, and I told you I bought it for just shy of 8. So again, we made about 2,400 just off of processed food on a single trip, right? And then immediately while you're at the same terminal, turn around, and this is one of the cheapest places. I know that Gallog had it a little bit higher than this, but this is one of the cheapest places to buy it. Again, for 89, so I'm just shy of 9K when I do this. Now, any ship that you want to run to do this, again, I make in this run with a with the freelancer, I'm going to make about 4,800, maybe 5,000 in total profit. But if you do this with a Caterpillar, you're looking at 48,000 total profit. And usually, unless you have a computer glitch like just what just happened, right? This run will take you a 15-minute round trip, and that's it. And I am glad that they finally, for the most part, fixed the model here. I don't know, you guys remember in 3.8 when you would fly the freelancer and your cargo wouldn't show up when you loaded it, but then when you sold it all, your cargo would show up in the cargo hold? Do you guys remember when that crap was going on?
Thank you. Please visit again.
Let's see now. Back to Port Olisar. So how many of you guys had to, do the same thing that I did, where you'd like get into the ship and you'd run back in and go check the terminal and make sure that the terminal was, showing that you had all your cargo and all that other crud? It was annoying when that would take place. Let's see, Jelly. You did not. I only flew the freelancer twice and crashed and never flew it again. The freelancer gets a bad rap, man. The ship is a fantastic ship for a starting ship. It is so capable of being able to do, the claim jumpers missions, being able to run cargo, smuggle drugs in the damn thing. The firepower on it is fantastic. It's just the only gripe that I have in this thing whatsoever. It's the cockpit view. So Red Dragon, if you like the rear heavy versions of this stuff, it's the Max, because you go to lift off with the Max and its ass stays on the ground. It almost just basically does this like pivot like this before you could finally lift off. Oh, you meant women. Okay. All right. Well, true enough. You like a little junk in the trunk, huh? Well, the old saying is you gotta have something to grab onto, right? I don't want to be afraid of breaking somebody. Oh, and for everyone's entertainment value here, again, so Red, I got an update. I fully expect that the suit will be in tomorrow, and sometime after that, we will make sure that I coordinate with you on the day that I am going to, let's just say, do a little dance. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, because I know we've got some new people on stream, Saturday's a free day for playing the game, and I was being a smartass and basically had made a statement that said, the first person that donates $100 to the channel, I will purchase a chicken suit and do a little dance. And right on cue, Red Dragon made that happen. So, I am a man of my word, although I will embarrass the ever-loving fucking shit out of myself. It's going to happen. So there will be a chicken suit, and there will be a dance that goes on, and I hope I don't offend anybody by my absolutely crappy moves at this point, because I'm an older, middle-aged, fat white dude, so that's the way this works. Professional demeanor. By professional demeanor, do you mean dropping F-bombs constantly and yelling and screaming at a game? Yes, absolutely. Team Nova Gaming. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Glad to see you here. think this is the first time I've seen you in chat, so welcome to the stream. Okay, so Team Nova. All right. Chat's probably going to chime in here really quickly, but there's a bet that, or basically, yeah, I'll just call it a bet. There's a bet that I have to settle up on, which involves me as a Star Citizen streamer wearing a chicken suit and doing a little dance on stream. So I'm just letting the individual who basically is creating that fabulous content for everybody know that the suit will be in shortly, and I'll be paying off that debt quickly. So, when you walked into the statement of older middle-aged white dude, that really was the statement of, you know, I ain't got no moves. So, the dance is going to be horrible, but it's going to happen. So yeah, you happen to wander into one of those streams. Alright guys, bear with me for 1 second. I've got to check this call. Alrighty, that was the weirdest call I think I have ever had. Somebody called me for my ex-father-in-law who passed away 4 years ago. Yeah. That one takes the cake for the day. Hold on 1 second there, bud. Let me get this on the ground, and then I'll chat back with you here. That is not the view that I was looking for. Thank you ever so much. Alright, I'm flying like a goob. That phone call really threw me off. That was not cool. Alright. Okay, so let me check over here with chat for a minute. Team Nova, thank you very much for the follow, buddy. I appreciate it. And getting back to your question. So have I been playing for a while? I have been playing since roughly January time frame. I got involved in the game and fell head over heels in love with it, even though it's an alpha. And found out that my niche in the game happened to be trading and getting people started with trades and helping them out, doing stuff like that. So there's a lot of people who do a lot more of the combat missions and other things like that, but I really enjoyed the trading side of it. So it is what it is. I'm picking up more and more of the lore and picking up more and more of the information, but I'm not like some of the people who are on stream right now in the chat that have been backers since like really early on. Alright, so if you remember, I bought this for what, just at about 9, So we made a few thousand off of that. So right here, this one run, and again, I've been kind of goofing around a little bit, but this run should take you 15 minutes, even in a freelancer, and you'll make about 5K a shot. So that's kind of that bread and butter, and that one will make you quite a bit of money regardless of what ship that you're in and you're running. Let me see. So, disclaimer: no babies were injured or will be injured during the planning of this performance of the chicken soup dance. Yeah, babies, maybe not. My back, maybe that may be something a little bit different. You know, I may throw out a disc here or there. We'll just see how that works out, right? Alright, nice. I do delivery missions when I want to chill, but I do law enforcement related mercenary and bounty hunter missions when I'm really into it. So, Team Nova, generally speaking, what we end up doing on channel has more to do with, you know, now Jelly and, you know, Xano and some of these other folks that are here, they help me out a lot, but they tend to do a lot more of the bigger, crazier missions. But we will, Saturdays are my stream days where I get out and do the crazier stuff. I don't want to do the trades. So I'll kind of let you know from there. But as far as, you know, delivery missions, I generally don't do them anymore, but I do recommend them for anybody that is starting out looking for capital and trying to get funds together, if you don't have one of the larger trade ships or one of the more premier fighters. So, no, Jelly, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying that it's criminal activity. I'm simply saying that you are a gun for hire and that you have no qualms about whether or not you're skirting the law. That's how I look at it. Alright, Dragon Bait. Stability has not been fantastic. I have not been in the same server for more than 2 hours. I did jump servers probably about 15 minutes ago. So I was noticing a bunch more issues and a bunch more glitches, and then people were starting to complain as I logged into this server that they just hit a 30K. So it felt like one was coming, and I just went ahead and jumped servers. Don't lie, he's an outlaw and proud. Okay, Jelly, fine. You're an outlaw and you're proud of it. Do I put you in the classification of like a Robin Hood outlaw, or are you just a flat out, straight up, I'm just out to be an ass outlaw? Alright guys, so here's the thing. I'm kinda gonna bounce back over here to Gallog for a minute. Probably the ass. Alright, cool. Dude, you do you. Fingers crossed stability improves for 310. Really want to trade, but can't afford to lose all my money to a 30K. So Dragon Bait, don't trade with all your money. Trade with half of your money. That's the thing. Make sure that you are never trading with more than half your money. I cannot stress that enough to everybody who is doing trades, regardless of what ship you're on. You don't feel like you have to fill it up just because you have the cash. Don't feel like you have to go to the highest price commodities just because you have the cash. Use half of your funds, and you will see that at that point when you make that transition as that being your core trading process, that you will start to see a steady increase in your overall funds. Even at those few times where you 30K and you lose money, you'll still see an overall increase in your funds in the long term. Okay? So be very, very cautious about that. Alright, so guys, some of the other stuff that that I was going to run through here, again, had more to do with Gallog. So if you guys have not checked this out, feel free to go ahead and jump into that. Because what it is there are different ways here in... logged me out. Okay. Um, One of the other parts that I didn't show you is if you need to know where your trade ports are, come back in here. Just like your planets, it's going to give you locations, it's going to give you visuals of what you can see, and then it'll also, once you get there, you can click on it, and it will give you what they sell and what they buy at each location. Okay. Now this stuff has not been updated in a little while, obviously. So this is one of those things that I've got to get with Revere on and see what the uploads or what the update cycle is here, because this really should have been part of the overall data downloads and cascaded back through here. So that's kind of the quick and the dirty of the tool here. Before hopping to a new cargo, make sure you have the funds for a full cargo run you want to do, and also the funds for a full run of the previous commodity. Again, that's kind of where I'm at, Anderson, is that rule of half. I'm okay if you don't necessarily have a full run, as long as you are only using half of your funds and you're going to make the money that you want to make, right? So, like, if I go to commodities here, right? Again, I will go back to gold because it's the simplest one to do based upon $1, right? If I'm looking at, let's just say I'm going to do Lyria to Arcor, right? Area 18. So let me go ahead and put that in, Humboldt Mines. A freelancer, let's go from Humboldt Mines and we're going to go to Area 18 Trade Tower, right? If I were to go in here, it's going to first tell me that chlorine is actually better to run in the long term than gold is, okay? But that's if I have a partial load. So if your funds are low, this is where it starts to you can start paying attention to, can I get a full load versus can I get a partial load, and what kind of money I can make. So it's really simple to use to be able to filter here until you get up to a point where, let's say you have, you know, the money in order to be able to run a full load, and all of a sudden titanium jumps to the top, right? So this is one of those things where even though I can get a full load of gold, I still technically make more money on the titanium coming out of there. So feel free to plug in your numbers and check it out and see what's going to happen. But the general rule of thumb for somebody who's just getting into it, yes, you don't ever want to have a deadhead leg. You want to make sure that you have some commodity, and you always want to make sure that you're never trading with more than half the money that you have available to you at the time, right? Now, I want to dissect this because this is a great example here, right? Even though it's saying titanium, I can get almost a full load. I'm risking almost all of my money here in that scenario, versus I'm only risking 35,000 to make about 15 AUEC less, right? So in this scenario, less risk, better profit margin, more overall total. That's the way you look at that. That's the way you dissect it and push it together. Okay? All right. So, guys, I think, normally, like I said, today is usually going to be a noontime cutoff. My wife has sent me a message that she does need to run somewhere, so I think we are probably going to go ahead and wrap up for the day. But with that said, do you guys have any other questions while I am wrapping up and rolling some credits over here? Let me see just a second. go. Alright. So we did have some cheers and a new follower today, so, you know, I wanted to make sure to recognize you guys, so thank you, Inno, and you know, everybody else, and thank you for the follow today as well. And if you guys noticed, the first raid was done. I did add that to the Wall of Fame yesterday. So the channel's first raid was brought in by Flatline, and I appreciate the fact that he did so. So guys, with that, I'm going to tell you, one other thing that you will see is I did put up a donation box for us to be able to move forward and you know, have the overall organization be able to get in early on having access to something like a Hull C, and then we will determine shortly after that goal is met which capital ship we're going to go after. I am thinking it's probably going to be one of the carriers. So whether it's a light carrier or one of the, you know, larger carriers, I think that's probably the way that we're going to run. So with that, guys, we're going to end this the way I normally do, and I will see everyone tomorrow, bright and early, 9 a.m. Central Time, and keep on